Editing Johnny here. I just want to remind you guys, just because we're talking about one issue in the game, it doesn't mean it's the only problem or even the most important problem. It's just that we can't discuss everything in one video. I just want people to be reminded of that, because I think a lot of people think if I bring this up, it means other things aren't important, and that's just not the way it is. All right, back to the video. The time has come where the PTS is coming up fast, guys. What needs to happen to make PvP fun again is the big question everyone is asking or needs to be asking right about this time. And for me, it's a simple answer with a very complicated reasoning behind it, or the way to achieve it. And that is killability needs to go up. And what I mean by that is people need to die easier and or faster. This isn't as simple as one thing. It's a mix of healing, damage mitigation, damage, and sustain. There's more things too. It's a very complicated question to be asked and answers to be given. But for today's video, we're just going to talk about healing, and this is for PvP only. I will address one little thing I have in regards to PvE that might be an issue, but as a whole, this should be isolated to PvP and PvP only. All right, let's first get cross healing out of the way, because I see this get brought up a lot when the discussion about healing comes up, and I think it would improve some fights. That being a very minuscule amount and wouldn't fix the core problem, because the majority of the biggest problems are groups in Cyrodiil, not necessarily random pugs running around. Would it improve things? Maybe a little bit. But yeah, I don't think it's the way of doing it. I understand why healers were annoyed initially when this was a thing. And for those that aren't sure what I'm talking about, if there was no cross healing in the game, you wouldn't be able to heal anyone on your faction outside of your group. So now that that's been said, what are the core problems with healing in the game? And I think it can be broken down into three things. For me, it's heal stacking, how easy it is for anyone to just throw on a healing staff and with no downsides, and burst healing being very strong, and with the way sustain is, it's very easy to just spam a burst heal. So now that we've broke down the core problems, let's talk about how to improve them. First is simple and easy. Stop the same morph from stacking and only allow one of each hot to be on a person at any given time. This has the upside of bringing build diversity back into the way you heal your group, because you're not going to want to have 12 people with a resto staff with rapid regen, because it's just not going to do a whole lot. There is obviously the complicated part of this on ZeniMax's side. The back end side is how do you determine which one of the one morph is? Is it the first one that's applied? Is it the strongest one that's applied? That is a problem for ZeniMax, but let's be real, they're not doing any of this anyway, so does it even really freaking matter? Anyway. So yeah, you can only have one of each morph on you at any given time. I think that's pretty clear. And then the next issue, it isn't as simple, but I think I have a solution to solve the problem. Let's just take a quick break and let me explain to you fundamentally, and a lot of people understand this, but the problem with healing in ESO is down to, if you have really good weapon damage, you're going to have really good healing. It makes it very easy to have a high damage, high surviving build, because those two stats are linked to each other. Separating them isn't a easy thing. You could say bring in a healing stat, so healing power instead of weapon damage, and so on, but that's going to kind of close the door for the solo player. So my solution here is, I think, a way of getting some separation between weapon damage and healing, but doing it in a different way that doesn't screw over small scale players and solo players. So what is my idea? It's pretty simple. Nerf external healing with Battle Spirit by 50%. 60%, 40%. Obviously, these percentages are just thrown out there that have to be real testing and stuff done with it. But give a way for healers to get that back through sets, CP, and other things. So you could add a CP that buffs external healing by 10%. You could have a 5-piece set that gives you 30% external healing. Obviously, once again, these things would have to be balanced so the healing wasn't too weak or too strong, but this does add separation between a healer and just someone that is a damage build with healing staffs and healing abilities on their bar, but doesn't screw over the solo player because your self-healing is still really good. And this just has a knock-on effect as well because it's not as simple as just throwing on a resto skill. Like, you actually have to be a healer to get benefit out of healing a group. So you would fundamentally just see less healers in Cyrodiil because it's not as simple as it used to be. I hope that made sense. Let me know in the comment section if it didn't. But let's move on and lastly talk about burst healing. I don't necessarily have a problem with the amount a burst heal heals for in an individual cast. My problem is more with how easy it is to spam heals over and over again. Now, I've seen a lot of things thrown out there, from increasing the cost of burst healing to decreasing the heal itself, and these are both things that would improve where burst healing is, but I don't think would fix the core root problem of burst healing. And that is the fact that someone can sit there and spam a burst heal over and over again. So my idea is to add a ramping cost to burst heals like Streak. Now, obviously, there'd have to be a lot of balancing around this, but off the top of my head, I reckon something along like the first cast is normal, second cast is, say, 20% more, the third cast is, say, 50% more, with a 4-second cooldown, something along those lines, maybe a 3-second, maybe a 5-second cooldown. I think this would just impact the game so much because it would bring meaning back to when you cast your burst heal instead of just going, oh no, I'm getting hit, I better burst heal nonstop. You would have to use your brain. Obviously, this would have a downside and impactful to group healing where you might only have 2 healers in your group and it becomes very hard for them to burst heal the whole group, and that is an issue. But you also got to remember that your opposition is also going to have that problem as well. The smart guys out there with a brain would be able to overcome it, and I think that's what I want in this game. This is what I've been craving for years, and it's just been going the opposite direction. And that is, I want my inputs to have real meaning. I don't want to be able to just sit there, hold block, and spam a heal and stay alive. I want to have to think about what I'm doing, and if I make a mistake over again and over, I keep making mistakes, I get super punished for that. And at the moment, it's really not like that. It's not. You can make a mistake after mistake because at the end of the day, you can always go and hold block and burst a heal or dodge roll spam 5 times. There's so many ways of prolonging your death in this game that really takes no more skill than pushing a single button. And that is fundamentally my biggest problem with the game. And healing is just one side of that. I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comment section what you think about my ideas. Are they all good? Is one of them good? I don't know. And also, at the moment, I'm kind of in a phase of swapping between just free speeching my videos and talking about it without a script to writing scripts for my videos. So bear with me. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to get right and doing differently at the moment. So yeah, stay with it. I'll get it nailed down soon. But as always, boys and girls, I love yous, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.